Input and print. Hello, I am Parth Arya and today I'll help you understand the concept of inputting and printing data using Python. So, one of the basic jobs of a computer that we've learned since maybe class 3rd is that it inputs data, it processes it, and then it displays the relevant output to the user. How does this concept translate to Python? Let me show you. If you watch my introductory video in Python, you know that I could print using this. Print in parentheses and writing a string here. Now you know that this is a string because it is enclosed in quotation marks. Now I save and run this file and you can see that hello is printed. So this is the basic syntax of a print statement. And you also know that if I have a variable which I'll call x for now and I print this, I misspelled print, sorry about that. So the value 10 is displayed. You'll make mistakes too. And next, if I have my first name in a variable, Parth, and then I have my last name in a variable, Arya, and I want to print them together in a print statement. I want to combine them in a single print statement. I print first name plus last name. So plus here is called a concatenation operator, and I'll just comment this out. This is called a comment, and you can write whatever you want here and Python will just ignore it. So if I were to write concatenation just like this, Python would give an error because it doesn't make any sense. Now I can add this hashtag symbol and make this a comment, and I can write whatever here and Python will just ignore it. So this is called, plus is called a concatenation operator. Now if I run this, you can see that Parth Arya is printed. But wait, why isn't there a space here? Because Parth exactly is the string and then Arya exactly is the string. There are no spaces in my strings. So if I wanted to add a space here, I have to manually write this. So this is a string which just has a space character. So when I print this, my first name, then a space because I instructed Python to add a space here, and then my last name is written. Now, what if I wanted to add my age? I am 17 and I just write it like this and age. Would this cause a problem? This is a string, and this is an integer. Let's see. It does cause a problem because I cannot print integers with strings in a print statement. But I can. So this was using plus. But let me show you something. If I use commas and I print it, oh, it prints it. Oh, it prints it. And I didn't even use plus and that weird space string in between. It just gives me a space by itself. So comma is also a concatenation operator, and by default all these terms, first name, last name and age, are separated by a space character, as you can see. So what if I want to change this to hello? Look at this. Though it doesn't make much sense, but I can separate all these terms using my string hello, using the sep parameter. So this is what we call a parameter. In the print statement, I write sep and then is equal to and a string here and separate that using a comma. So all these terms that I have separated with commas are now separated with hellos in my output. So what could be happening when I didn't have this sep? What exactly happens is the sep value is already there, but it is space by default. If you don't change it, the sep value is equal to space. And if I change that to double space, you can see that there are two space characters between my terms. Now that was the sep character, but isn't this a little confusing? Seps and commas and whatnot. So I'll tell you how you can do this. I write what is called an F string. So I write the letter F here in small lowercase. Then I write quotation marks, and then I write first name in curly brackets, then second name in curly brackets, and then just to show you is 17, age here, and I close my quotation marks and I close my brackets. So what is happening here? I write the small letter F here, so this makes this an F string, and then whatever I have within curly brackets is considered to be a variable, and it replaces that value of the variable inside my string, and whatever is not in curly brackets is displayed as is. So these spaces would also be displayed. So if I remove the space here, so wait, I'll show you first. I made a typo again. Oh, second name. Yeah, that is why you need to decide your variables beforehand. I'm keeping all this in so that you can see that everyone makes mistakes. Last name Parth Arya is 17, and I can add a full stop here. Parth Arya is 17 full stop, and I can remove the space here. Parth Arya is 17 without spaces. So it writes what exactly I have written here and just replaces that curly bracket and variable name with the value. So this was an F string. Now we have what is called the end character. So if you haven't noticed, if I just print my first name and then I print my last name, not second name, in separate print statements, what would happen? Would they be displayed in the same line or separate lines? So it is displayed in separate lines, because what happens is when a print statement is finished, the cursor is moved to the next line. You see the cursor, I'm manually moving my cursor to the next line, but in Python the cursor is automatically moved to the next line by default, of course. And you would know by now that you can change most things in Python. So if I write here end is equal to and just a space, so this is that space character, and I write end after a comma, so this is also a parameter of a print statement. And now what would happen is there is just a space here, because end is changing where my cursor moves after the print statement is complete. So instead of moving to the next line, it is just leaving a space, and by default it is \n, which is called the moving to the next line. So \n is a special term which stands for moving to the next line, and you could also have \t, which is a tab space. So this is a tab space. And then there are other escape characters, these are called. And so if I just have \, it doesn't work, because \ itself cannot be printed like this. So I have to write double \, so that Python knows that I want to write a \, because \ stands for something else. It is an escape character. So when I print this, you can see that \ is printed. And now I'll just show you how I can print Parth and then Arya. So this is how I can print two things in separate lines in a single print statement. So when I run this, Parth Arya are in separate lines. So \n in between a string just takes it to the next line. So you don't even have to do anything. Just it filters out the \n and moves it to the next line. And what if you wanted to print \n? Well, and a \ before this and \n is printed, because this cancels out the escape character. And if you want to print quotation marks, have you ever thought that? Because I'm using quotation marks here, how do I print quotation marks in between? If I add a quotation mark here, Python just thinks that the string is ended here and ignores this. So when I run this, it gives me an error. If I want to print this quotation mark for whatever reason, of course I use another \ here, and it cancels out the quotation mark and knows that I want to actually print it. So you notice that backslash is not printed, but the quotation mark is printed. And similarly, I can do this with single quotation marks if I wanted to, and a single quotation mark is also printed. So that was all about print. Now input. How do you input data? What would you think? Python is very simple, right? Well, you input data by just writing input. And if I save this, you can see that there's space for me to write here. Of course, nothing would happen because I haven't asked anything to happen here as of now, but this is how you write a blank input statement. So inside these parentheses, what you can do is write a string which will be displayed to the user. So what is your name? And when I print this, I'm adding a space here just so that it looks aesthetically pleasing when I run this, and you can see that what is your name is printed, and a blinking cursor is present, so I have space to write. So if I write Parth here, you can see that Parth has been entered into the program, but I can't do anything with it as of now. So I save this in name. This is why we require variables. So whatever input is taken from the user, I save that in a variable and call it name. So when I run this, name Parth, this is stored in name now. And if I print name, just to show you that it is stored, and enter Parth again, Parth is printed. So name is stored, my name is stored in the variable name, and then it is printed. And what if you want age? Now I enter 17 and 17 is printed. You should also know that you can get the data type of a function by using the type function. And type age right now, what do you think it would give me? So if I wanted to write my age, what would you think is my age? It would be an integer, right? So I write 17 here, but it is a string. Why is that? Well, the input function, whatever it returns, is a string by default, and you have to convert it into an integer if you want to use it for numerical calculations. So now when I print and I press 17, you can see that it is a class int. So it has been converted explicitly by me into an integer. And now I can even print age plus 10, and 27 will be displayed. So I will be 27 after 10 years. And that is all about types and input and print. You should do a lot of practice problems now so that you get all these concepts in your head and you can revise them. So you could check out my book linked in the description below. It has many practice problems for print and input and many more for the coming chapters. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day.